Come talk to me.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of Shootin' the Breeze. My name is Mike Larkin, and joining me, as always, by my side is my girl, professional wrestling fan, and what a fan she is, the ultimate fandom, if you will, the one and only Miss Roxy Main. How are you, Rox?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. A lot has been going on in the wrestling world, and as we do in this show, we just talk about wrestling. We let it flow, as the title of the show is Shootin' the Breeze. I figure what a way to start, because, folks, as we are recording this, it is Rampage on it for AEW now, and, well, a little something got a little bit of someone in trouble on this edition of Rampage during the taping. So Ric Flair, during this taping, which has been removed from tonight's broadcast, said, and I quote, "Let's party like it's the old days. I can't tell you the hotel, but ages 18 to 28, leave the boyfriends and husbands behind. Come party with me in the Stinger." Woo! So Ric Flair got his 80s NWA World's Champion, Rolex wearing, son of a gun, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, so-called, this shoe costs more than your house. We'll be here all day with the catchphrases, but Ric Flair, go party like it's 1989.
I didn't realize that it was that simple.
Yeah, it's just, you say something like that because, I mean, he's 74, the Stinger's 64, people are going to be like, it's not the 80s anymore. But I'm like, when you think of the Ric Flair drip, when you think of the Ric Flair character, and I understand where they're coming from, but I'm like, we've seen Ric Flair in the 80s when he's going against Steamboat, Sting himself, Ronnie Garvin, and all Dusty Rhodes. That's the luxurious lifestyle that Ric Flair lives. It's the character, but it's art imitating life at the same time.
Yeah, it really is. And, if you don't want Ric Flair to be Ric Flair, then why do you get him on there? You know what I'm saying? And, the older people gets, the more, I don't want to say out of touch, but I know that he's had, controversies in the past because of kind of being out of touch with stuff. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, I guess, he touched or kissed Becky Lynch or something like that. I'm not sure. You know what I'm talking about? On the side.
WrestleMania 32, where he kissed her.
Stuff like that. He's out of touch with things, which I think that was worse than what this is by far. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, this was just Rick being Rick, and I think that I don't know. I think that it was honestly harmless, and honestly, it was just a line. I don't really think much of it. I think people are too soft. That's me personally. I don't watch wrestling if you're that soft. They're not doing anything it's not inappropriate to me because 18 is above the age. So, and back in the day, people didn't say ages, and people used to talk about sweet 16, sweet 17. You know what I mean? So at least he didn't say any girl, or at least he didn't say something more. I think he's probably said more controversial things in the past than this. So, but it's just the world we live in.
I like your style because I'm going to bring up something that this one over here said, because you just tied it into the Sweet 16 dances, if you will, like you used to have back in the day, which was so very much apparent, the quinceañeras that you have when you're 15. But here's the funny part about this that I love that you brought this up. Two things. Number one, it's like when Kevin Nash was live on Nitro on the NWO saying, come meet the NWO at the hotel room. Didn't matter the age, what have you. Come on party with the NWO, so to speak, for life, if you will, right? What we saw in the 90s with the NWO. I equate it to in pop culture times, Ringo Starr, the legendary Ringo Starr. I'm talking about the Beatles here, Miss Raxamine, right? When he went solo, one of his biggest hits was "You're 16, You're Beautiful, and You're Mine." Now, imagine if that came out today.
It wouldn't come out. I mean, it would be already shut down. It's just a very different world, but I just don't understand. I really thought that it was way worse. That I thought it was more raunchy. I honestly would rather hear this promo that he just cut, that they cut out.
Yeah.
I would have rather heard that than hear what he said last week with Sting, because it was kind of off base. It didn't make any sense kind of. So that's why I was all right, Rick.
No, I even said that too, because I was watching with my dad Wednesday when they were
off. It was off.
The thing that I love about it too, and I love what you're saying, and first of all, put that on a t-shirt. If you're soft and don't watch wrestling, I like that. You just put the Barker campaign right out there. But
no, because that's what's fucking up wrestling. Oh, I'm sorry. That's what's messing up wrestling, period. It really, I mean, in a certain way, it really is. I think there's room for everything, as long as it's not about minors. There's room.
First of all, Rox, you can curse on the show. It's okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
I didn't know if you ever like had to beat me out. I never like realized. I was like, did you ever beat me out before or anything?
I don't beep anybody out on here. You know, you
Good.
give me your honest, raw thoughts, and I appreciate
Okay.
it. So I got to add on to her because again, another great point mentioned by the main one over here. So let's talk about the fact that we go from Flair and Sting. It was very much an '80s based promo of promoting the town. We're going to be in Greensboro, come party with Flair and the Stinger. It just my issue was it was way too long, and Flair just would not stop. It's like, okay, Rick, we gotta let the segment hang, brother. We're gonna be in Greensboro. I get it. Just stop. Let's stop being more than nature way. We gotta move on with the show. It's called Time Cues, brother.
He started off bad.
He did. It did. But that's the Flair. I mean, he even had to put out a tweet. He's like, Tony, if I'm embarrassing you or your company, then I'll just take my leave. He legit put that on Twitter because people were complaining about him. It's nuts.
Well, I don't know. The only thing I think is embarrassing is like just the whole like him wrestling part.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing to me just because like he's had a million retirement matches and it's like how many times can you really retire? That's the only thing I think is embarrassing. But like, you know, his promo like last week, I think it was embarrassing just the way is he rusty? Or what is it?
I look at a guy like Ric Flair, and I think it's just, Flair's going to flare. As they say, haters going to hate, players going to play, and ballers want to ball. I'll go into the whole song if I have to. But you look at a guy like Ric Flair, right? It's just Ric Flair being Ric Flair. And I also like the style of, I look at it from a stance too, like this. When it comes to a guy like Ric Flair, don't have him wrestle. And I've said this. You and I have talked about this. Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels, that's how I want to remember the last match, WrestleMania 24. I'm sorry. I love you. The kick. Shawn is crying.
It was great.
Exactly. But unfortunately, with money and everything at the time, when he went to TNA, and I'm going to say the best part of his whole TNA run was the feud with Jay Lethal. That is what did it for Flair and TNA.
Yeah.
Then he has the match with him and Andrade against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, and he's like just, passing out. He's all bloody, and it's like it's hard to watch if you really look at that matchup back. Yeah. But with Flair, don't have him wrestle Sting and be his final match. Don't do it. I understand the final Nitro from over 20 years ago was Sting and Ric Flair, but don't do that in 2024. Don't do it.
No, because Sting is not Rick, and Rick is not Sting, and Sting somehow has been able to preserve himself of some sort. You know what I'm saying? Like he's I think he does really well, or like he's been able to cater to what he can do and make it, like up in front, you know what I'm saying? So like Sting has it figured out. Now Rick, is a different story. Plus I think Rick and him has different lifestyles, and they have had a different like journey. So their bodies are going to be different. So I wouldn't do that. I think it's better, like, especially like at their age, we know they ain't gonna, like, why do we want to see them wrestle? We just want to see them hang. We know their history. We don't need no more history. Does that make sense to me? I'm not trying to be, but like, we don't need no more history. Like when it comes to them two feuding, like they should just be chill. Like you guys been down the road together, just enjoy what's going on type of thing.
No, you first of all, you make complete sense. And as I'm thinking about in the timeline, so to speak, Miss Roxy Main, 2010 TNA, I think was the last time that they wrestled each other, or like 2011, like when he was doing the Joker gimmick, when he was Joker Sting. And
I wish he would just be that. I love the Joker. I wish there was more of that. I love the Joker Sting so much.
Ta-ta for now. Yes.
My favorite thing was like, he's like, I'm one fry of a Happy Meal short or something like that is my favorite.
Yes. I'm one fry short of a Happy Meal.
Yeah. Yeah. That was good shit. He was always like, I thought that was like, I love Sting, the Joker Sting. It was like my favorite. I wish there was more of him. I wish that he could have kept that for a while. I wish that he would have came in with that at some point even, but it obviously isn't going to happen. But it would have been cool. It would have been cool if him and Darby both went that way and went crazy. Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
Now, which brings me to my question here. So, Revolution, obviously, we found out it's going to be in Greensboro, North Kakalaki for Sting's final match at the pay-per-view. Who would you like to see Sting's final opponent be?
Oh, my goodness. His final opponent?
Yep, since he's retiring next year for Revolution.
I don't even know who would even fit the bill, to be honest with you, because, like, Sting has such a long career and he's faced so many people that it should be someone like different than like in the past, maybe. I don't know. It's tough because I don't think we've seen him one-on-one, have we?
I mean, he's been undefeated. He's had like, you know, it's great that you bring that up because I mean, I think he's may have some one-on-one matches in AEW, but it's mostly been in tag to protect him, so he doesn't.
Yeah. What? Hey, you're lucky that he's even fucking living. That's
Right?
how I look at it. Yeah, like because most of our boys are not living at that age. So yeah, you know. So like, you know, protect him at all costs and let him be used as a legend that he is. You know, but I don't know. I don't want to see it. I don't. I just here's who I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be Darby. That sounds bad, just because like I just don't. Yeah. I mean, like I guess it could be that would make sense. That'd be the most sensible one because they have had such a long, you know, I mean, since he came in, that was his, you know, I mean, that would be like a great respect. I don't want to see that. I don't know. Maybe it would be good. I'm like a 50-50 about it, but I don't know who else. I don't know.
One scenario I'll put out here, and I was actually going to be mine because you could do like a respect thing with Darby, which I can totally understand because it's very sensible, like you mentioned. And also, there's a story to it. But they wanted to go the other route because he's also in AEW. You have Ric Flair, the dirtiest player in the game. He low blows Sting, and then he brings out Andrade because obviously that is his son-in-law with Charlotte and whatnot. And do it with Andrade. Have a little something fun there, you know, Andrade and Sting, maybe, kind of, sort of.
Maybe that would be cool. I just don't know if they would.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know how good of a match that would be, but I'm trying to think of like something outside the box.
Scenarios.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be like, this sounds crazy, but like it probably wouldn't be. It wouldn't be Adam Copeland. I don't know if it would be or not. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, they've never wrestled each other, but they have a lot of respect for each other. Yeah.
Yeah, and they've been like, no, they haven't been down the same road because Sting honestly never was hardly in WWE. He was like in there for like a very short period. But
yeah, he was just there for 2015 and that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like I honestly, I'll be real with you, I wasn't too much in touch in 2015 because I was like in high school and I was busy with like cheer track, band chorus, pageants, stupid shit. I mean, now they look all kinds of busy shit. So I wasn't really into it. So how long was his run overall? Was it just for WrestleMania or what?
Let's just point this out here because this one's like, yeah, I was doing all that shit. I was cheering. I was playing sports. I was doing whatnot. You're just going to flex at everybody's pockets. Yeah, you know what? Fuck that wrestling shit. I'm cheering. I'm doing all this busy shit up in here. I'm Roxy Main. Give me what's up.
And I worked at McDonald's all at the same time.
All right. Well, I'm going to throw this at you here. I'm saying we'll have a wham burger and some French fries because I'm about to tell you what's going on. Joe Dirt, represent. So, I'm sorry. So Sting was in the WWE. He made his debut at the Survivor Series 2014, taking out Triple H and the rest of the Authority. And then we got to Sting and Triple H at WrestleMania that year, which saw the NWO come out and help Sting, WCW, and DX help Triple H at WWE, and Triple H wound up winning. Then he would come back for the matchup with Seth Rollins at Night of Champions. That did the match with the power bomb and hurt his back, and that's what kind of ended his career for WWE. So yeah, he only had like a few matches.
That sucks because damn, that I didn't realize it was that short.
Oh yeah,
but I knew he got messed up in the ring by Seth. I knew that from like a buckle bomb, wasn't it?
Yeah, the running buckle bomb. Yeah, the corner bomb. Yeah.
I knew that part, and I knew about the WrestleMania match, but I thought maybe I missed like other stuff that happened or something, but I don't know who else it could be. Like, just because like they never got to cross paths, and he is such a honorable like Adam Copeland. I would, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's such like a respectable like opponent. You know what I mean? I don't know who else. Like, I don't know. There's just so many like people that like it would be cool. Like, for example, like I don't know. I'll be real with you. Like, to be honest with you, like when it comes to Sting, it don't matter who he faces, like you just care because you like Sting. That sounds crazy, but I always just like Sting. So whoever he faces, because I just don't, maybe it's because I don't know, like I know him, but I don't know him as deep as like other wrestlers. Does that make sense? Because his career is so long that like I don't like know what would be the best, because you know how everyone likes to go backwards. For example, Kurt Angle, when he retired, everyone wanted him to face John.
Yep.
Makes sense. That was a good time. Sting can't face people he faced back in the day because most of them are dead or they can't walk,
Right.
or you know what I mean? He's one of the very few that's still doing this shit. So like him facing new people is like basically all he has, or people who are like young legends. Like to me, Edge is a young legend because he's only what 40 something, 50. So he's young
Yeah.
still.
He just turned 50, yeah.
So yeah, he's like young still. And then Sting's like what, 70 something.
64.
Fuck. I'm sorry. Sorry, Sting.
Just making him older, just like Jesus.
I love you, Sting. He will never like he don't give a fuck. You don't know who I am.
So, fuck you and your age.
Actually, he knows what I mean. He met me once, so maybe he might recognize my ass. I'm not sure.
Well, at least you can say you got to meet the icon Sting, so that's a plus.
I did at the World of Wills. I took my client with me, and it was great. I loved it. It was awesome.
That's cool. No, that's a great experience. But all right, now, see, you got me like spinning the wheels because when you're talking about like Sting's opponents, like first of all, you're not going to get like a Lex Luger. Lex Luger's in a freaking wheelchair, for God's sake. It ain't going to be Lex Luger. You have to. I'm trying to also think of people that could be in the North Carolina area. And I mean, I don't know. I think whoever it is, I look forward to seeing it. And you mentioned Adam Copeland here, so we'll go on to Adam.
Who's from North Carolina? Anyone that's like
well, Jeff Hardy, but I'm like, no, I don't want to relive that.
No offense, but Sting probably like, please, Tony.
Please, Tony.
But who knows? Jeff seems like he's doing good, but sadly, Jeff missed his opportunity for that. Sadly,
I know, but for me, like if you have anything, and we'll go to Adam Copeland here now because we talked about the fact that the Stinger is on his thing, doing the retirement. First of all, legendary career from the 80s to now. He's definitely one that's going to be missed and who's so appreciated for what he does. Another one with appreciation, Adam Copeland. So he debuts at Wrestle Dream. He's now in this feud with Christian. He just told Christian to go fuck himself last night. Not last night, on Wednesday, yes. Here's my thing with that. Now we're going to have the TNT title on December 6th next week in Montreal. I get it that they're doing in Canada, but for me, that is a pay-per-view match. That is not a Dynamite match. That is a pay-per-view match. You know where I'm coming from here?
Yes, but they're known to do that stuff. AEW is. They're known. I think they are doing it obviously because of Canada, you know. But then it makes you feel like this sounds bad. This sounds bad, but it makes you feel like Edge is already leaving.
Here's my thing with that. Like,
doesn't it make you feel that way? Like, why are you doing this already in Canada? What the fuck are you? You've already leaving.
That's my thing. He came in so hot with Wrestle Dream, and then it kind of like meh. And then we got finally to the Christian match, and I mean, him and Sting and Darby beat Christian, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne. And I mean, what I like about it too is as well they're getting to finish their careers together because I mean we know the history, we know the tag team, we know their singles runs, but for me it's going to be nice to see them going for the TNT title. And you know what it is for me, it's also hard to call him Adam Copeland now because Edge has been instilled in my brain for 20 plus years since
I know. Listen, I've literally I like to say Edge too because it's literally, you know what I mean. I still call him Edge. You know what I mean. I've been saying Adam because it's correct, Adam Copeland, but Edge is definitely. I mean, he probably calls himself Edge. Fuck.
But I gotta say, man, like I think with him, I'm happy to see him doing his thing, and I think first and foremost, just the fact that he really hasn't missed a beat, and I understand where he was coming from because. Look, I get it. I think he would have had a sweet deal with WWE just making the sporadic appearances, but if he wants to work each and every week and he wants to explore the creative juices, I can respect that. And also we talk about him and Christian. Christian is one of his best runs. I mean, just being the heel and just watching Nick Wayne take that concerto from Edge and he's yelling out, my son. Like,
you know what was so not awkward, but it was so weird. And I wish that they would like expand on it, right? So you have Christian screaming because Wade was Nick, Nick Wayne. Yeah, because Nick was on the ground, right? You have Christian screaming, then his mom screaming in the corner, and then Edge just fucking hit him with it. He didn't give a fuck. So then it's like, because Edge ran out to save the mom, and then he's like hitting the mom's son, and the mom's like screaming at him. He don't give a fuck. So it was like very weird to me. So I was like, I wonder what they're gonna do with this because it obviously shows like Edge's like ruthlessness and how he feels right now. But like obviously he came out with compassion for the woman and then he just fucked up the son. I don't know. It's just you know what I mean? Like with the thought of it, like
see, I like how you put that there with the ruthlessness because I can follow up with that. So here's how I view it. and I'm going to see if you agree with me on this. So he has so much hatred for Christian and wants to just take everybody down limb from limb. It's that blind rage where you get caught up in the moment and it's the blind rage type of deal.
Yeah, that's true. But it'd be cool if the mom would just like go in with Christian. And
well, that's my thing. You have to
Is that
wonder.
what you're gonna do? I mean,
that's what I'm thinking. Like, if you wonder how wrestling goes and how the story goes, and how Christian's like, if you played your cards right, whatnot, that whole thing, I would have been more of a man than your dead husband. Like, I could see, like, if Edge and Christian are going to do their thing, or whatever match it is, Shayna Wayne, if you will, low blowski, right, to Edge, and then she aligns with Christian and whatnot. So, I mean,
that would be cool. That would be cool.
It's just there's so many things that they can do, and I mean, I look at it from the stands too as well. There's so much variety and great things now in professional wrestling. I mean, December 30th we have at World's End with AEW. Next week we have Deadline with NXT, headlined by Ilya Dragunov and Baron Corbin, and the whole Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams thing is very interesting. So I mean, there's a lot of good wrestling coming up, man. A lot of wrestling is really having that boom. And speaking of boom, there goes the Dynamite, and there literally went the Dynamite because one of AEW's top stars is now back home, if you will. If you watch the promo from Raw, the return of CM Punk at Survivor Series. Oh my goodness, hell is frozen over.
It has frozen over. And I will be honest with you.
Yes.
When I seen it, like there was rumors and stuff, right? And then I wasn't watching it because I was at work, and I seen it go across my phone. Like it said CM Punk return. So I hurried up and went on Twitter and I looked, you know what I'm saying? Well, first I think I might have watched the BR Live clip, and then I went on Twitter and started looking. And I'll be real with you, it didn't feel like the same as like AEW did. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't feel like, I don't know how to explain it. I wasn't that like, I don't know how to explain it. I was shocked and I was like happy for him. But like, I think it's just because I still dwell on what he could have at AEW. I think that's why, like, I'm one of those dumb fans that I personally feel I know he's like, I know WWE is home and everyone, but I felt like AEW was a better fit for him as a person because he could have detailed feuds. I don't know how to explain it. Like, for example, like him and MJF's feud, top to bottom. You will never see that feud in WWE. You can't. I'm not trying to be mean. You can't. You know why? Because it's just too vicious, too bloody, too raw, too like adult. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's the truth. And you'll never see that. And that's what Punk thrives in. Punk thrives in like actual feuds like that. Who can offer him that there? Like, yeah, he'll have good matches, not feuds. I mean, maybe. I'm just saying, I don't know. That's how I feel. And that's why I'm like not very like. And then he cut the promo, and it's just like, it was, I don't know. It just like, it didn't seem like he was that happy. I mean, I guess like it is his second return in like 2 years or so. So he's probably like not the same, like it's not the same like teary-eyed, happy to be here. But I don't know. Like, I just felt like I think that he just felt like, great. I'm like, I had to like, I mean, it's good that he mended bridges. Like he, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Built bridges back together, whatever. But it's beautiful that happens. But I think that maybe he's not exactly like the happiest though. That sounds like, I mean, maybe he is very happy, but he looks good. Oh God, he looks good. That's all.
Oh yeah. First of all, you're not a dumb fan. Let's just put that out there. Now dumb this year, man.
Well, people loves like everyone's so happy with back to WWE, but I was like, man, AEW, I felt like the better spot for him.
I like
he was doing good.
You bring up a great point, and I'll add on to her point here, Miss I'm a dumb fan. Stop it. So let's look at the analyze, dissect, and decipher it. So when he came back in 2021, and oh my God, what a pop. So it was fine until everything happened with the Young Bucks and whatnot there. So you could tell like he's happy. He's having the MJF feud. He's doing what he wants. Like the MJF feud was the peak of that AEW run. So
it
good.
Was beautiful.
Absolutely. So he gets, and then the whole thing with Hangman Page happens, and then the Moxley stuff. You could tell just with everything that was going on. You heard what happened with, the Young Bucks and the Colt Cabana thing. This is why Colt Cabana's not on TV. And then we saw the brawl out. I think for him, and when we saw him backstage at one of the WWE shows, like he talked to the Miz, he talked to Triple H, and then Vince is like, tell him to get the fuck out of here. And then he was gone. So I think the inclination here is just the fact of, I think he saw what happened with AEW. We saw what happened with him and Jungle Boy. We talked about that on our last show. But it's like he probably thought to himself, like, I have to get the fuck out of here because I will lose my mind. And ultimately he did get fired, and Tony Khan was afraid for his life. Oh my God. But the fact of the matter is he's happier now. I think for him, it's like, you know what? I'm a changed man, like he stated in that promo. But it's like, all right. And he even took a subtle shot. Did you notice the subtle shot that he kind of took at Tony Khan at the end there?
I didn't, actually. I didn't really.
Okay, so it's an old Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, God rest his soul line. So what CM Punk said, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. That's the subtle shot at Tony Khan.
Really? I honestly just thought he fucking meant it.
No, he meant it, but he also meant it as like a subtle shot to Tony Khan, like, hey, this business is not about making friends, it's about making money. So that was his small, obviously you have to think they have an NDA where they can't talk about each other.
Oh, yeah. And he can't talk about it and shit. But like that, it does make sense. But people made memes about Tony. They were like, I'm here to make friends, not money. Shit like I was like,
yes.
I love Tony. I don't think of it that way. But to be honest with you, that is true because honestly, there could have been a lot of money made. My hair's messed up. Sorry. There could have been a lot of money made that's like left there. Because look at people like me that probably thinks the same way. Like I would rather see Punk bring out his belt with the X on it and have MJF have his belt. You know what I'm saying? Like build to that point because that should have happened. You know what I mean? I'd rather would have seen that than see him return WWE right now. Like, because there's just so much that could have been made there. But like another thing too is like it's just like I think that maybe Punk might feel a little bit awkward too because he knows what people thinks about him. He knows what media says about him. Like he knows everything. Like he's not dumb. So he probably like he already knows the picture that he's painted as, you know.
I mean, for me, where he's out there talking about people hugged him and some people kissed him on the lips. I mean, I think for stances, and here's what's funny about it. I want to
kiss you on the lips, boy.
Exactly.
Who kissed you on the lips? Who did it? AJ's probably like, who's kissing you?
On the lips. Okay. So what I also like about it too is, did you realize that Monday, and a lot of people brought this to attention on social media, was the anniversary of when he did the Art of Wrestling podcast with Cole Cabana, the whole tell-all. And it's crazy to think 9 years later on that day, he's making his Monday Night Raw return.
It is crazy. But like they say, you know, anything can happen in wrestling. And, you know what I'm saying? We see like bridges, you know, come back together all the time, WWE, which is beautiful because it sucks to see whenever wrestlers get burnt and, you know what I'm saying, from a big organization like WWE. I hate whenever they get burnt and then they are very like bitter, you know what I mean? So I love to see them come back and then like find that healing with it, you know what I'm saying? So like that's the only thing that I like about it, basically.
Now I got to ask, did you like the infamous, it's a mighty cold day in hell, the Triple H CM Punk point, the infamous Triple H point to CM Punk? They got to do that after Survivor Series.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I'm actually like happy because, you know, that they have a lot of history, you know what I'm saying? Like Triple H is one of the people that he mentioned a lot, like as a problem. And you know what, that just shows you that Triple H is a decent dude. You know what I mean? Like more of a decent dude than not a decent dude, because he could have been like, dude, this guy's been dragging me in the dirt for how many fucking years?
9 years.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He's been dragging in the dirt every chance he got, kind of, you know, and he like was like, you know what? Like, this is but he did say in the, what do you call that? Press conference that, you know, that they're changed people and like, after, you know what I'm saying? And like everyone grows and, you know, business is business. And if money's to be made, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So like, he's, you know, he's a smart man, I think, with the business. And Punk obviously like feels differently. Obviously, like, I don't know. People are like, everyone has like different things, but I think Punk is like so headstrong that if he wasn't like happy with his decision, I don't think he would have done it though. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think us as people, and I mean, I'll start with you over here, Miss. I'm cheerleading and working and I'm hustling and bustling over here. I think, I think right? Over the, yes, exactly. I think over the years, I think we change as people. Like, well, listen like this, right? Like 9 years ago, he said all this crap about Triple H, right? But he still said it. Like 9 years ago, he walked out the WWE, right? if you're the same, like Triple H said, if you're the same person after 9 years, then you really haven't grown, adapted, and changed. And I would think you would want to change and not want to be the same person you were. I can tell you, 9 years ago, I was 22. You know what I'm saying? I'm not 22 anymore. I'm 31, and I've grown a lot in those 9 years. And I'm sure you as well, and yourself has grown in 9 years. So it's the evolution of people and the evolution of life that kind of brings us all together. And you're smart if you want to make money and adapt and change and grow, but also at the same time, it's a healing process, man. We all got to heal.
Yes, and I think that like Punk had to heal. Like, I think that like he definitely had to heal because like there was a lot of issues. Like he got fired on his wedding day even, and then they wanted him to perform when he was like sick and shit, and not sick, but you know what I mean, like injured and stuff, and like, you know, so there's a lot of things that like. But then, you know, he went to AEW, and I guess he ran into the same thing with Tony. He wanted him to perform when he was injured. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So like he kind of like, I guess he like kind of realized like, man, like maybe this is just the way people are or something. You know what I mean?
No, I also will add to your point here because, again, Roxy, man, I got to tell you something, man. You're bringing a lot of my points together, and this is why I love you because it's all very cohesive, and you bring it together, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. So let's talk about this here because, folks, what she said that was so imperative is Tony Khan making him wrestle injured. Like, that squash match with Moxley, here's my thing. Tony can go, oh, and it's just a squash match, Punk. You know, you just have to take a couple moves. Here's the thing. You're not the one taking the moves, Tony. It doesn't matter if it's a squash match. You can still get hurt. The man was already hurt with his foot, and you're having him do a doggone squash match, man. Like, it doesn't matter how long the length of the match is. You can still even get hurt doing a squash match.
Yes, you get hurt. You can get hurt getting into a ring.
Right.
Period. Yeah.
Look at Adam Cole, man. He just jumped off the stage and bada bing, bada boom. He's down.
Look at Vince. He got in to tell them what's good and fucking tore his quads.
Yes. First of all, that image, folks, if you've not seen it, Royal Rumble 2005, John Cena and Batista in the ring.
He's just sitting there, and he's
that man sprinted to the ring, threw off the jacket, slides in, and then he's just like
sitting. Yes. It's like, why is Vince sitting? He's just sitting on his ass with his legs straight.
He tore both of his quads, and he walked out. He refused up. He's like, I'm going to walk myself to my car with torn quads.
Because he's a hard-headed man.
Oh, God damn it. I tore my quads. Let's go to the hospital.
Fucking bastards.
Fucking bastards. I slid
They didn't fuck up this thing. I'm going to be out here.
Edge did an interview, and they asked him about that. He said, whatever you do, make a path. Don't go anywhere near Vince because he's so pissed.
Oh, I believe it.
It's the littlest of things, folks, that friggin' make you get hurt. But I mean, end of CM Punk's chapter in AEW. Now he is back with the WWE. And I'm going to say this. One final thing with Punk before we move on to a lot of the news and more wrestling talk in today's forum, Miss Main. Were your thoughts on CM Punk and Seth Rollins rumored for WrestleMania? And Sports Illustrated put out an article that right after Seth, looks like they're going to go towards the Roman route. So what are your thoughts on those two feuds in the pipeline?
Wait, who was the second person again?
CM Punk and Roman.
Yeah, I think that the Seth one makes the most sense because like Seth's been saying shit. I don't know if he just like said it because he was like, you know what, I'm gonna just put it in the universe, and if he comes back, it'll like start a rivalry between us. Like if you think about it, because he said in that thing, I forget who he was talking to, but he was in that blue jean get up, and he was like he's like, I don't want Phil here. Phil's cancer, something like that. You know, he called him cancer and shit. And and then now I don't know. It's kind of funny the way he reacted. It was just funny. But I mean, like, I think that maybe he could have a good feud with Seth because Seth recently, with most of his promos, with his recent like feuds, he has pushed the envelope and said things like he said nasty things about Matt Riddle and his family and shit. And then who else? All I know is that he says a lot of disses, Seth does. So I think it could be really good. And then Roman, obviously, like everything's good with Roman just because of like what they've done with him. But who knows about Roman's promos have been great, but I don't know. I mean, like it'd be they're just so different with their styles though, Punk and Roman, with their promos, what they got to say and how they say it.
The funny thing is his last like pay-per-view match really, and we'll exclude the Royal Rumble from this, TLC 2013, folks, CM Punk and the Shield handicap match. So his last real match there was with Roman and the guys in the Shield. And I mean,
Crazy.
It's crazy to think about. Yes. And I mean, with Seth Rollins, I think half of that is like work and half of that is like there is some beef there. And I mean, I'm going to say this, like you mentioned with Riddle, if he can put aside his differences with Riddle and make money with him, that's business. That's a businessman for you folks. And
yeah, that's why I think I'm sorry. That's why I think that it's more of a work than anything, because him and Riddle didn't work together for a bit, right? But then they put it to the side.
Yeah.
But this here, like, I think that like if you see a feud, which obviously I think you will, because they put the camera right on Seth, you know that Seth like was like pissed about it. You know what I'm saying? So like people are obviously like, you know what I mean? And then Punk like acknowledged that people aren't happy about it. So, you know what I mean? So like I really feel like they are gonna, and I feel like obviously Seth just wants that CM Punk rub, you know what I mean? Because he's always being talked about. So
oh yeah, and I think when you have two visceral characters like the two of them, you know you're going to get something magical, which is what wrestling is with its overall craft. And I mean, Punk and Roman, there's a story there too. The wise man. I mean, CM Punk's a Paul Heyman guy, so I mean, it works. It works.
Yeah, which Paul always gets into situations with him. His guys always going against each other. You know what I'm saying? It's like I wonder what Punk should say something towards him, because like that was his. Paul was with him before he left, right? Like he was with Paul.
He was there from 20. So they first started putting them together. I mean, we always knew he was a Paul Heyman guy from his tenure in OVW and what, Paul really pushing him to get to the ECW brand and to the main roster. But yeah, from like, if you remember 2012 to 2013, like, I mean, he was there. Then Paul Heyman turned on him and he was with Ryback and they did that whole thing. But yeah, Paul has always been his biggest supporter.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see in general, just like like I said, the first promo like wasn't the like I didn't really care.
It wasn't the best. And I mean, here's my thing. It just came out that when Randy Orton fought Dominic, that segment went over and they said Punk's promo was supposed to be a bit longer. But yeah, we got what we got. And I mean, it was fine. And I think what a lot of people anticipated was it's like right out the gate, pipe bomb. I'm like, no, you got to build to that.
I wasn't looking for a pipe bomb. Okay. I wasn't looking for that, because why the fuck would he come in here? He just fucking got here. All right. But I kind of like, you know what, his attitude, coming in, kind of like hard. Like he's not soft. If you like notice, like he's not like showing much emotion and stuff. So like maybe that's like, I don't, you know what I'm saying, which makes sense, because I think he's just picking up. He's doing, you know what? I just got this in my head.
Okay.
Him having that promo WWE, I think is like a tilt, like what do you call that? A tip of a hat to people who are smart enough to watch both products, right? So like if this was like a regular, like, okay, like what am I trying to say? I'm sorry. Like he can't do exactly what he did in AEW, because we already seen what he did in AEW. Some people has it. Some people just watch WWE and some people just watch AEW, but most people watch both. So like he knows that you already seen him do this. I don't think he wants to be looked at the same way. If that makes sense. Like he wants to come in looking different, like picking up where he left off.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And I mean, I think this time, like when at the beginning of the promo, it's that, well, hell is frozen over. So you could feel like, all right, we're ready to go here. You know what I'm saying? This is not the same man who was saying, like you mentioned, like that company is a cancer. The company's this company's that. They don't care about me. I said for them to fix me and they wouldn't help me. Like we're in a different age. And I think where a lot of people is going to come back to as well, because the old man's not in charge anymore. It's no longer Vince McMahon. And if Triple H can bring legends like Bruno Sammartino and the Ultimate Warrior back for the Hall of Fame, who said that they would never go back to the WWE, and now
they stuck to it for a while.
Right, exactly. I mean, I think Triple H is the catalyst, and I'll add this as a follow-up with Triple H. You see what's going on with Damage Control and Bayley and how that's kind of like, dissipating. They're slowly turning Bayley back to babyface when they turn on her, right? So I'm going to pitch this here. Damage Control against Bayley, Becky, Charlotte, and a lot of people are saying with Triple H now back and everything going on, would you like to see the return of Sasha Banks, a.k.a. Mercedes Moné?
I'll be real. No.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't want to see her. I don't want to see her in WWE. You know why? Because I'd rather see her in New Japan. I'd rather see her other places. Just because, like, I'm not trying to be mean, but like I get sick of, because WWE is such a exclusive island
Mhm.
that like it's hard to meet them. You have to pay out so much fucking money just to meet them whenever they're in WWE, and then you just have just that roster that's Raw and SmackDown, NXT. I mean, I say just, it is a ginormous roster, but there's so much talent on the indies. There's so much talent in New Japan. There's so much talent Impact. There's so much talent everywhere that I'd rather see her like do, like when I see a star like get released, I used to get so sad, but now I'm like so freaking happy when I see it. Like when Riddle got released, I was super hyped because I was like, I'll see him in an indie show. I might give him a joint. I, I might smoke with him. Like I'm extremely fucking happy, like because there's more opportunities as a fan, and then there's more opportunities for them to like face more like different people that they might never see WWE ever, and so that's why I want to see her do that because, she I mean, like she has so many years in WWE. Like I guess not. How many years does she have? She started when?
Sasha Banks. So,
Yeah.
all right, I'm going to do the timetable here. See, now you got me using the old noggin, trying to like, because here's the thing, people, time flies and you don't even realize.
Time does fly. I know she like, I didn't watch NXT whenever the Four Horsemen started coming up.
Okay.
I know it was like young, like it was old.
What, like the early stages of NXT when they started going to like Black and Gold, right? Like forget about the game show stuff, Black and Gold.
Yeah.
Like, she was originally on NXT in like 2013, and then she was on the main roster by 2015.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then, yeah. So, I mean, she had some good years and she started out there. So, like, it is nice to see her do her own thing and, like, whatever makes her happy, too, because, like, I think that, like, she used to take a bunch of, like, breaks towards the end of leaving. Like, she took a huge-ass break, then came back, took another huge-ass break. I think she took 2 big-ass breaks.
Yes.
Or 1.
2.
Yeah, okay. So, like, I think that maybe, like, she needs to step out and stay out for a little bit. Like Punk, like he needed to be out. He needed to stay out. He needed that time. And I think she needs time, or she might become a bitter Punk. You know what I mean? Like she could become a bitter Punk if she would have stayed. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to see her come back just yet. I don't think she's done enough on the outside yet. So that's why I don't want to see her come back.
So the way I look at it is like, I think she's one who's a big proponent for women's wrestling, which you got to love. I mean, she's so strong-minded when it comes to stuff like that. And I mean, with Naomi doing her thing now in Impact, and I mean, she felt disrespected. She didn't like the way the women's were going. And she's like, all right, you know what? I'm a dip. I'm going to go do my thing in New Japan. Yeah. And she did her thing with Kyrie, who's now back in WWE. But here's my thing, man. Like, I think what you said is beautiful because we always fantasy book and we always talk about where we want to see these people go. But it's always that the matter of fact is whatever makes you happy makes you happy. Like, look at Matt Riddle now. Him and Rob Van Dam are going to wrestle on an indie show, like in the early 2024. Like, who would?
Oh my God, where's that ad? Do you know?
I don't know, but I remember him advertising Matt Riddle and Rob Van Dam. I'm like,
well, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to like take all my fucking weed and. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, well, I'll be real with you. Like, I wish that wrestling shows, this has nothing to do with anything, but I wish that wrestling shows was like more geared. Like, I wish there was like a more geared towards like smokers anyway, because everyone's always like about beer and alcohol. But like, I rather have people like, I love smoking. I love people who smoke because it's just like a better vibe. And then them too, they're known for it. So like, it's cool. I'm excited for them. I love it. I love it. I like it a lot, actually. And it makes me happy.
So what she has for the mindset of the weed smokers, hey, smoke weed every day. Rest in peace, Nate Dogg. Let's talk about this. And
I do smoke weed every day, so I mean,
all right, which is fine. And nobody's all right. Hold on here, man. Let you brought this topic up, so we're going here.
All right, we'll go here.
All right, man. So much respect and much love on that front. But yo, smoker, weed. Here we go. If you look at it, I always go back to the Kevin Nash line. So Kevin Nash said in an interview, because he was talking about the wellness policy with WWE back in the day when he was there in like the early 90s to mid 90s. So he said, you know what? Weed, no. But hey, why don't they just take some pills and drink and whatnot? Like, it's like, you never hear anybody dying from weed. You know what I'm saying? Pills, drinking and whatnot, and overdose and all this shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was making a joke because WWE was like, oh, you can't smoke weed, but you could drink and do pills and all this crap.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But still, like, I get it.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you ever saw Bret Hart say the same thing.
Yeah, I think he said that like years ago, right, in an interview, right?
Yeah, like he was like, he's like, he was talking about how much like the guys would have been preserved if they would have just been allowed to smoke weed and go back to their, to their hotel, smoke weed and go to bed. You know what I'm saying? He was like, but no, instead they were drinking and partying and taking pills and, what I'm saying? Like, and taking downers and uppers and, what I'm saying? And fucking up their brains, basically. Like, don't get me wrong, it all does something too, I guess, but very different stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, I personally I feel the same way. I don't know why. I do know why. Society. There's still a stigma, you know what I mean? So like, like people think like they still think the worst of people who smoke, and it's still illegal federally, you know what I'm saying? It's still an uphill battle with it. So that's why I think it was like that. When it comes to like sports and shit, like we should be not even in like against the law. I mean, not a law, but against the books, because weed, the only thing it can do is not enhance you, but like what is it? If it doesn't enhance, it dehances. It
decreases, like desensitizes.
Decreases. Like, for example, like when I smoke, I can't lift weights. I can only do cardio. Like if I smoke, I'm like cardio, because then I can like do it and not think about it. But I can't lift because I'm not as strong. Like I'm just not. But not everyone's like that. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean? Like, it ain't gonna make you like super like an advantage over somebody. And then on top of it, it's like alcohol. If you do that at home and you come in the next day, you're fine.
Right. Well, that's my thing. And I've always said this. First of all, as you know, and we've gotten to know each other, my friend, as you know, I'm a non-judger. So I do not judge anybody who smokes weed or does any of that stuff, because I'll put it like that. Do I do it myself? No. But my best friend has done shows with me on here where he's been high. And it helps him because, if you're going through depression or stuff, if that helps you just get into your zone or mellow out, I think that's cool, because it does help a lot of people medicinal purposes wise and whatnot. So you have to really open up your horizons and really see what certain things do that's well for people,
Exactly. And then, don't get me wrong, like when I was growing up, I was straight edge when I was growing up, extremely straight edge. I was straight edge until I was 20, actually. I didn't like drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do anything. But, you know what I mean? But like we all like change and evolve. But the reason why I was like that was because all I saw was like failures. Like people who smoked weed, they didn't play sports and they didn't do well in school, and they had to get sent to an alternative school, and they were always getting caught for having papers, and you know what I'm saying? Like they looked like losers, and I was like, I'm not going to be a fucking loser. But then I got older and I started meeting people. Like my friend, long story short, her stepdad was a chef and he was real cool. And she's like, yeah, he smokes weed. I was like, oh, and he made good money and he was a chef. You know what I'm saying? I was like, he smokes weed. That was when I was like 13 years old. I was like, that's my first like, oh, people can smoke and be good people, like have a good life. You know what I mean? Because that's all I knew was just failures, because that's all people has ever shown me. But then I'm a productive stoner myself. Like I do everything still, and I smoke. My mom's not a big fan of it, but I do what I want. I'm an old woman, so.
Well, I've always said it too. I think, first of all, there's always side effects to everything. But if I had to choose, and I will say this myself, and I'll say this as my straight edge self, if I was to go to that realm, so to speak, I've always said I would rather smoke weed than take pills and drink all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because, again, nobody's ever died from smoking weed, number one.
You don't drink? You don't drink?
I don't do anything. No, I've never done anything. And that's my personal choice, but I don't judge people who do.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, drinking is not the funnest. Like, it's only fun to a certain point. It's not that fun. It's not really like, and to be honest with you, like a lot of people, like, they have horrible reactions to it, like terrible. Like people who are wonderful people, they drink, they become the most violent motherfuckers you'll ever meet. And then they fucking destroy their life right in front of you. And you have to help them patch it all back together all in one night. It's just too much. Weed doesn't do that to you. It doesn't. The worst it'll do is like make you eat something and your mother gets mad, or like you eat too much and then you're like mad or something that you ate all that food or some shit. Like you're not like this. You're not calling up people like destroying relationships or fighting people. You'll never find someone who smoked a blunt and fight somebody.
Right. It's like the worst thing you could do is get the munchies and you're at the Taco Bell drive-thru at like 3 a.m.
And you sound stupid. That's the only thing. Like they'd be like, yeah, that's the only. I mean, you have no idea how many times I pulled up one time real high, and my friend was like, hey, look, Kayla, it's John Cena. And I was like, John Cena, da 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 da, like right in the fucking microphone, da 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 da. Because they made fun of me because I loved wrestling. So they always made fun of me. What do you expect? I'm a wrestling fan. But you know how it is. People always poke. But yeah, I was high as a kite, and I was at the drive-thru just doing John Cena's theme song.
The time is up. My time is now. You can't see me. My
You
time.
can't see me. Yeah, that's so yeah, like you know what I mean? And so that's why like if honestly if you could go back in time, I think that most of the guys would be here longer if they would have smoked instead of doing all them drugs and shit. And you know what I mean? Some of them you can't help, like, you know what I mean, because they had bad injuries. Because I don't know if it can control that pain. For example, like Davey Boy Smith, you know what I mean, him and the morphine. I don't know if we could even help with that type of injury, you know what I'm saying? But like other guys that just like killed their liver and like, you know what I'm saying, and shit like that made them messed up, they could have been preserved better for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, you see all these guys dying from heart attacks and everything so young. And I mean, it's so interesting to me, just, I mean, how the wellness policies have really evolved now, and how, I mean, we went from guys and gals back in the day going to strip clubs and getting high and stuff. Now everything is really geared towards the video games, and you see Twitch has really helped a lot of people because it gets lucrative offers, but also at the same time, it lets them go towards video games and not like a drug lifestyle, so to speak.
Yeah. Which is good. You know what I mean? And it's changed, you know what I'm saying? And like honestly, like the party life isn't really it's good that that's not really involved. And like honestly, if you see the new cast of like guys that are around, I think I've talked about it before, like they've figured out how to preserve themselves better. They've figured out, like, I honestly do like believe that, you know, the guys that we have that are like young right now, I think that they can go for a long time because they've learned that you shouldn't drink every night and party every night, and you shouldn't take drugs, and you shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like they've really learned and figured out how to preserve themselves. And then they, you know, that's just like the common sense shit. But then they also know how to like do better with repairing from injuries, you know what I'm saying? And like I think they're better at like healing themselves, and the therapy and the ice and the hot, and you know what I mean? So I think that like overall the sport of wrestling has like gotten better for themselves, and that's awesome because a lot of sports don't progress upward towards, you know what I'm saying, like a better health, you know?
I mean, we have that now. We see how CTE has affected a lot of people, and they're more careful with that. And I mean,
Yes.
for me, I will say this. Now, we'll go to the AEW side of things. We'll come back to WWE in a second.
Oh, yes. Okay.
But no, you're fine, because actually there's a couple of topics I'm going to add to what you said here, because again, folks, we're going to be all over the place, but this is what we do, and this is how we vibe. This is how we roll. Yes. Oh my goodness. I love you. So let's get to the AEW. One more topic here for AEW. I sent this to you. You were shocked, and well, we're going to read this statement here. QT Marshall has left AEW, and he wrote on his social media, "Thank you, AEW. Thank you, Tony Khan. I've had the privilege of being here since day one, and I've written over 750 formats for All Elite Wrestling, and always with pride. As much as I've enjoyed being a VP, manager of talent relations, and wearing a myriad of hats, the company has changed a lot since 2019 and is heading in a different direction. I feel that it's best I do the same, as we only get one chance to go all in. I have officially resigned from AEW and will have fulfilled all of the obligations by the end of 2023. Thank you to everyone from the front office to the production truck to some of the hardest working talent in the sport. Most importantly, thank you to those who booed, cheered, and took part in this season of my life." So QT Marshall has left his post in AEW. What are your thoughts?
To be honest, I didn't care at all.
Okay, fair enough.
Because I just never really liked him. He was just a guy with Cody. I'm not trying to be mean, but the end of it makes you like kind of sad, because it makes it real that it isn't the same as it was in 2019. And that breaks my heart, because when you think about it, 2019, like when I first started and shit, it was like so fucking amazing. And like really like, and it's sad because you can see it as a fan that it has changed, but you're just like, no, like, but then you have someone say it's changed, so I'm going my own way. It makes you like kind of scared, because it's like, what exactly is changing that dramatically, that like someone who started from the beginning wants to leave whenever, no offense, but there's not that many options for him. Like, it's not like WWE's like, yo, QT. I'm not trying, maybe they are. I'm not saying that they're not. Sorry, QT. But
it's fuck you, QT. Nobody wants you. Just go. Get out.
I'm not saying that they aren't, but I'm not saying that they're like, he's like the first guy that they're looking at or something. You know, I'm not, but like there's not that many options for him. Probably the indies he goes, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that he thinks that that's better than being here, what the fuck is that? What is that saying? What is that saying? You know what I'm saying? So
I think more of the reports that came out about QT Marshall and what he had to say, I think it was a case of also like he felt that, and again, you hear these reports, you don't know if they're true because everything's out there, you know what I'm saying? But from what the reports say, if you will, and I use the air quotations for that.
Yeah.
You see a lot of them saying like, oh, QT was just, he didn't like the fact that AEW's become more about the work rate than story driven, how he feels it's just matches for matches. And the way I could equate it to is like New Japan Pro Wrestling. And you and I, we've talked, we like all types of wrestling. You and I are very much a variety of what we get in professional wrestling. New Japan Pro Wrestling, I dig it. I think there's a lot of great talent there. But I think what he's trying to say is we're focusing more on work rate matches than less story. So, I mean, that's a product I guess a lot of people can be like towards, which is fine. But I think what he's saying is like, all right, the story is what tells it. You know what I'm saying? The build and how everything gets to the match. It's not just the match. Like, say you're watching a Rocky movie, right? Like, we all love the Rocky franchise. It's one of the biggest franchises out there. Imagine watching Rocky, but you don't have the build to how he gets to Apollo Creed, and you just have the fights. So it's just the fights and no build. So equate it like that. So I think that's kind of how QT Marshall was feeling.
Which, honestly, I didn't realize, but I guess that is what they are doing. Like, there really isn't, like, which they've been doing that for a little bit now, where they're just riding on names. Mm-hmm. Like, they're just throwing out matches, riding on names, and like, hey, this, you know what I'm saying? Like, this great guy versus this great guy.
Rematch, let's go, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like, there really isn't much storytelling. But, like, you know, I don't know. If they, for example, like that thing that they had, that QT TV, is that what they had? QT?
Yeah, like that TMZ.
TV, that's what it was.
QTV, yeah.
I don't know why they didn't do better with that. They could have done something great with that, I think, honestly. But they made it into something that it wasn't. Like, they made it like kind of like annoying and like comic whenever it could have been something different, honestly. I think it could have been something better.
No, I agree, because if you have John Morrison who's in that, right? Here's how I feel about that. Him and The Miz, the Dirt Sheet, one of the funniest segments ever, and that Hollywood persona type of thing, like the A-list, we're better than everybody. Yes. You could have made something to it, and it made sense for Johnny Morrison to be in, Johnny Nitro, whatever you want to call him, Johnny Elite. It made sense just because of the Hollywood connection, how it really equates to what we see in pop culture life, right? So they could have done more and really elevated that, but they really made it just like a comedy sticker, like, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And I mean, it's very interesting, and it's very telling to see what happens now going forward with AEW. I mean, your boy, and we'll talk about our boy here, MJF, Maxwell Jacob Freeman. He's better than you, and you know it. Now with Alicia Atoot, a.k.a. Tits McGee, as he put out on his social media. My goodness.
Damn her.
Oh.
I'm pissed. He could get a hotter bitch like me.
Yeah.
I'm right here. I am your rat. I don't know why you haven't came here and get me yet in Pennsylvania, motherfucker.
Put that on a t-shirt. I am your rat. Oh, my goodness. What a statement. I am your rat, sir.
I love MJF. But yeah, I mean, I seen him with her. I was very heartbroken because she always gets like, I have my own personal opinion about Alicia too. So it's just, I've always not liked her. So. Oh,
okay. Now I gotta see now we're gonna put this out there, Miss I am your rat. All right. We're not just gonna say that now, talk about this. I did not know about this. So I'm curious. What is the beef with A Squared, Alicia too?
There isn't no real beef. I just never really liked her. Like, I always thought that she was like cringy. I never thought that she was like good. That sounds bad. Like, I didn't like her like on MLW. I didn't like her. The only time I ever liked her on MLW was whenever her and Richard Holiday had a thing, and she was a heel. That worked. But like, that's it. Like, her talking, like, she was just fucking annoying, and like, I don't know. I just didn't like her. And I met her before. and she was nice, but I never like liked her on TV or nothing. And then that's my man, so I'm be like a little bit pissed too. I thought I had a chance once he got his engagement, broken off, but I guess not.
I think it's the case with her that really got her popular was her Ambi, a music blog. Yeah, just because of the fact like she interviewed musicians and wrestlers. And I mean, I got to say, she's a great interview. She makes it fun, but I think when you get to that on screen TV, it's just like
it wasn't good. I mean, what I saw on MLW wasn't good. I didn't like her on there, so that's all. That's what I'm going by. I didn't like her on there at all. I thought she was she was good with MJF, but MJF can make a wall look good and talk to it. So
I like your style. Okay, now your boy MJF torn labrum, and he's still going to wrestle Samoa Joe at World's End for that AEW World Championship.
I think he's going to drop it.
I gotta say, man, I mean, what they're doing with the devil, I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes. Now, all right, personal opinion, because it's all over the internet, Miss Roxy Main. Who do you think the devil is? You think it's Jungle Boy? Everybody, all signs go towards Jungle Boy. What are you thinking?
If it is Jungle Boy, which the text that came up on the screen,
yeah,
you seen it?
Yes, I did.
I thought it might be him because the way that they were talking, the people, like the person.
Yep.
But I kind of I don't know. It'd be cool if it was, but I really hope if it is him, I hope they really work with him and his emotions, like his face. I hope that they worked with his way he talks, because he's he's a good wrestler, and I met him. I like him. He's a good wrestler, but when it comes to him being a heel and shit, it just doesn't make sense because he just talks too monotone. I don't explain it. Even as a baby face, it wasn't it's just he's one of those guys that he talks monotone, and it just doesn't make you you know what I mean? His promos ain't the best, and
when he
very
was
monotoned.
Right, I don't mean to cut you off, but Rox, man, that fatal four where he's just Darby, you're a piece of shit. You're a big fat meanie. You people want to go out here and cheer for him, but you don't know what he's like backstage, and he's trying to be all tough. And I'm like, what the actual fuck are you doing, sir? And then they turn him heel, and I'm just like, what the fuck ever. And this is not a slight at him, because we've seen him in the matches that he's told with Luchasaurus and what have you in the Christian Cage feud, right? But It's just when that boy turns on the microphone, and I'm just like, oh god.
Yeah. That's the only thing though. He just can't he's very monotoned and stuff. That's the only thing. So whoever is the devil, they just got to bring it, because this has been such a build. I just pray that it's not going to be another. Oh my God, what? It's right in my brain. The group that Mustafa Ali was
Mustafa Ali, the Retribution.
That could have been amazing. It was amazing when it first started. I was really I liked it.
I was hooked. And then he did the thing and it was him. And I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes. And then they got jobbed out.
Nothing. And I don't know why but that was because of creative or something must have went wrong. I don't fucking know. But it went south, and I just don't want this to go south. That's all, because it's been such a big part of you know what I mean, of everything. So, but him being injured though, I think might put a thing in it, because a wrench in it, because who are you gonna attack if he's injured?
Right, and I mean,
not there.
And you see that, and I'll follow up with this one here, Miss Roxy. I mean, so we talk about MJF getting hurt, and we're getting into that match and see where the story's going to go. But also right after that, we have Wrestle Kingdom with Kazuchika Okada against Bryan Danielson and the rematch. Bryan Danielson wrestling with a broken orbital bone, and he's got that patch on his eye. My goodness.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they're wrestling like that. Oh.
Well, this is also the same Bryan Danielson who wrestled Takeshi Morishima in Ring of Honor back in 2007. Do you remember the injury that he had?
I don't.
He had a detached retina. He wrestled that match with a detached retina.
And this is why he was out for a few years.
He goes hard in the paint. I mean, you got to give him credit. Dragon, he does.
Yeah, but it's the only thing is I can take for example, I can take one wrestler fighting while he's injured, but whenever you got a bunch of wrestlers fighting while they're injured, it just looks real sloppy.
Oh, it absolutely does. And
I mean, to be mean, you know what I mean? Yeah.
No, it's just,
it just shows you how real wrestling is. It just shows you how people really do get fucking hurt. You know what I'm saying? And it's weird because all your life, like, okay, you've been a wrestling fan for a long time. I have too. When you were growing up, you really didn't hear about injuries. People just fucking disappeared. Or
Right.
if you did, it was a storyline. Oh, they're out for a broken thing, but they're actually like getting married or they're having a fucking baby or they're, you know what I'm saying, something, there's nothing wrong with them. They're fine. But now, like, you know, you see a lot of people having injuries and stuff. So like it's good to see the like realness, but it's like kind of like sloppy to see a bunch of people like hurt, you know?
Oh, I agree. And I think with that, I think that also comes with, authority. Like Tony Khan should be the one to be like, okay, guys, like, like slow it down a little bit. Like, can we not like get hurt? I mean, Phoenix and John Moxley, the fact everything that happened there with Mox getting dropped on his head with the concussion, it's like there's stuff like that Tony could be more involved in as far as like, hey man, like let's not do this shit. But I think with Tony Khan and like we talk about, I know you love Tony. We
I
know,
do love him, but you have a point though about this because obviously it's getting out of control.
yes, that's the point, is what I'm trying to make. Like, hey Tony, this is not like Tony the Tiger. Hey Tony, say something to these people and let's not fucking stop this because too many people are getting hurt. And I look at a guy like him, and here's where I'll also bring up to the point because you make this also very apparent in this conversation.
Mhm.
The big controversy that came from Full Gear was Adam Page drinking Swerve Strickland's blood during the Texas death match thing, because, you think of hepatitis and these blood illnesses, if you will. What was your thoughts on that spot? Because a lot of people were very much not in favor of that spot.
I think you're soft if you give a fuck about it. Obviously, he ain't got hepatitis. If he fucking did, he wouldn't be bleeding. If he had AIDS, he wouldn't be bleeding. Duh. I'm not trying to be mean, but make fucking sense. Make fucking sense. Obviously, Paige, like, and the reason why he drank his blood and he did that is to tell a fucking story. We would talk about stories, but these are little details that people are putting in, and people are like, oh, not that though. You get what I'm saying? Like, no, he's trying to make a point. That's why he did it. You know what I'm saying? Which, like, I'm not a hangman girl. I never was. I probably never will be, but I'm not going to sit there and say shit about that spot because it was a spot that people thinks is cool. And it just tells you how different, I guess it is different. Drinking it is different from it pouring. I guess that's different, but I don't know. That one spot of Stone Cold just like bleeding.
Yep, Bret Hart and Stone Cold, the blood dripping off the face with the submission match. Yep.
And everyone loves it. But then you see Hangman blood and people were fucking bitching. It makes no sense to me at all.
Right. So I'm going to counter that point. And I'm going to say, first and foremost, folks, this is why you could get this from us, because we're never going to say fuck you to each other. We can have a difference of opinion or whatever.
Yeah.
We can find. It's not like I'm going to say F you, Roxy, and your MJF-ness. I will be your rat, sir.
I am his rat. I don't know why he just doesn't come down. Like,
you heard of Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. Do you feel me, sir? Can I be your rat, sir? Yes. So
you feel him, sir.
You feel him, sir? So it's never gonna get old.
I love Cody, dude. Okay.
Me too, dude. So the spot. All right. So in Bret and Stone Cold, I mean, they always talk about red makes green. I think Bret Hart tells the story of Vince did not want color in that match, but he did it anyway just because of the fact that it added to the element, that infamous image of the blood coming down. He passes out to the pain. I think with this one, and first of all, I understand in the needs of a Texas death match that they go full throttle, so to speak. I understand it, but I understand people's thoughts of, okay, there's blood diseases and hepatitis and stuff. But again, like, we talk about this, and I'll get into this topic afterward. If it makes up for the subtlety, intricacy, and nuances, I wasn't a personal fan of it, but you don't see me bitching online about it. I'm going to say that right now. If you don't like something, that's fine, but you don't have to like go and bitch about it to people online. That always gets me because everybody has to voice their opinions, but I digress. So with the spot, it's the subtlety, intricacy, and nuances of how you're going to make like this intense feud. I mean, this man invaded his house, so to speak. You're telling that story, and he's
it's
like,
intense. It's a intense feud. It's supposed to be, but I think they should have put more into it. Keep going.
Right. I get you. But I also look at it from a stance too as well. And this is where we'll go to this topic. And then I have one more topic before we do close this out. Because like I said, folks, this is a lot of stuff going on in wrestling. We're loving it. We're doing the thing. We'll talk AEW and then we'll get to our last two topics. One other thing. We mentioned signings. We talked about Adam Copeland. We talked about CM Punk coming back. Will Ospreay is officially all elite. We're going to see more of him into the new year. He's going to finish at his New Japan dates. Thoughts on Will Ospreay signing to AEW?
I'm glad that he did sign with AEW because I don't know what WWE would really. Well, it's hard to tell what they would do with him because Triple H does a good job, I think, with a lot of people. I personally do think that. I think that HBK does a good job with a lot of people too. But Will, I think, is like, I think that AEW is just a good fit for him right now because until he gets a little bit better at like, I mean, he's good at promos. He's decent, but like every other word, bruv.
Bro,
Listen, you look good and you wrestle good, but please, like, why everything's fucking bruv, dude? Like
it's a UK thing. It's a UK thing. I don't get it.
I get it. He's from the UK. That's why he should. That's why he should have better promos because he has an accent that could bring a whole fan base in because
Not
he has
just
that
bruv.
accent, dude.
Yeah, not just bruv.
Bruv. You know what I'm saying? But I think that, like, you know, it'd be good for him because, like, so the reason why he can't, like, he does good though for his material that he has because, like you said, New Japan isn't a storytelling place. So like he needs to like get into a place that at least does a little bit of storytelling or at least some type of storytelling. And then one day, if he wants to go somewhere else that, you know, leads more towards storytelling, or, you know what I'm saying? But I think AEW is a great place for him. I kind of like, I'll be real with you. Like he is a big signing, but like, it kind of was like, what do you call that? Like,
It's kind of like, all right, I'll add to this because I can see where you're going with this. And I'll finish your sentence. This is what we do. We'll finish each other's sentences. So the one down part about it is it's a great signing just because of the talent, the high octane aerial assault. We all know Will Ospreay. You know, we've seen him do his thing. But here's the thing. He's already been there. He's already been there. So
it wasn't a fucking surprise.
It wasn't a surprise.
It would have made more sense just to make a all elite thing and put it on the internet. That would have been
a graphic, like the graphic you see on Twitter. Absolutely.
That would have been that would have been fine because like he made it sound like he was getting somebody from somewhere else. Like it sounded like, oh, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be mean, but like I get Tony was trying to give Will the red carpet. He was trying to do that for Will, but no offense, Tony, but you have rolled out the red carpet for all of these people that are like legends and people who hasn't been there before.
Yeah. And
that's what people were expecting. Somebody that was from WWE that is released that would come over. That's what people were waiting on. People thought it was be Dolph. People thought it was who else? Like
the Dolph one was there, but you also have
I saw someone saying about Dolph because Dolph was in the back or something. That's what I saw.
No, the thing is, people wanted it to be Dolph, but I think the problem is people don't realize, like, when he got released with all those group of people, like, he still needed to have like that 90-day clause, and it hadn't been 90 days yet, so you couldn't have it be Dolph. But I mean, here's the thing: if it was New Japan and she was better, like if you would have gotten Mercedes Moné, that would have been something. I mean, you had. I'm not going to count Ronda Rousey because a lot of people also thought it was Ronda, but I'm like,
I would have been pissed. I was pissed when I saw Ronda Rousey at fucking Ring of Honor. I was pissed.
Really?
Pissed. Okay. I'm sorry. Pissed. I was so mad.
Why were you so mad? Okay, well, it made sense because her and Marina Shafir. That made sense. But why were you upset to see Ronda in Ring of Honor?
Because I think Ronda just fucking sucks in pro wrestling. She shouldn't be there. Period. She just needs to stay at home. She shouldn't be in pro wrestling at all. No, she shouldn't have. When she first came in, I was really excited for her. And then she didn't do shit. And then she talked shit. And then she came fucking back. And then nothing to do with her when it comes to pro wrestling. We don't need her. We don't need her as pro wrestling. The women don't need her. Because like she was supposed to be like a light in the division, and she wasn't. And so she needs to just go away. That's how I look at it.
My thing was when she, like you mentioned, when she came into 2018 with the Rumble.
Yes.
Her and Kurt Angle against Triple H and Stephanie. Awesome. Then she became Raw Women's Champion. And then obviously that led to WrestleMania with Becky winning the title. That first one, awesome. Then she came back. I don't know what the fuck happened, but it diminished so badly.
Yeah. I mean, like, well, then she talked all that shit online and like,
yeah,
I don't know if it was real or if it was fake, but you know, basically she was like, just like pulling down the whole sport, which people does anyway, because because, you know, pro wrestling, what people think of it anyway. And then the fact that she is from UFC, so she's from a different world to begin with. And then she's coming into this world, and then she's acting like this world wasn't hard. Whenever, bitch, this world fucked you up. You couldn't handle this world. I'm not trying to be mean. UFC, you won all them titles.
Yep.
Right? You got all them accomplishments. Okay, you barely did shit in WWE. Barely. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and then she can't even get promos down. She couldn't get a character down. Like she couldn't do shit. So
that was my next point. I'm like, first and foremost, I think with her, it's just like she was also complaining about the creative, but I'm like, bitch, you can't cut a fucking promo. Your promos are terrible. You can't cut a promo. Like she called she called Natalia Natty Bobatti or whatever it was, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Who wrote this?
Who wrote this? Like, but that's the thing too. She's not a good promo. And here's my thing: you've seen her in movies, like not bad, but I'm like, how do you not? You do all right here, but when you get to fucking wrestling, you can't cut a good doggone promo. Like her promos are awful, like terrible.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that like she couldn't just like at least not shit so much on pro wrestling, you know what I mean? And like I think it's just mostly, like I said, she was just such a fail in like the division, I think, because she was supposed to be such a she was supposed to do such a difference, and I don't think she did. And then she talked a bunch of shit and then acted like she was above it, and it's like, you weren't even that good. Like the reason why you were even around was because you had good people around you. Like you were facing Becky, you were facing Charlotte. These were women that made the program. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like I think personally, you know what I'm saying? Like don't get me wrong, she's gonna have like eyes because of, you know, her being UFC and all of her history and shit. But she just like I was pissed just because like I just don't think that she's needed anywhere. She's not needed. There's so many women who aren't used. I'm not trying to be mean, but there's like too many wrestlers that like are not being used, and like she's just like one that'll just sit in the back, just like keep her home. Keep her home.
Now, I'm going to add to that before we get to the final two topics, because you said something eloquently there as well. When Ronda Rousey had that match at Ring of Honor, it was if you saw the chants, folks, it was half the crowd, we want Ronda, other half, no, we don't. That's what she got during that Ring of Honor match. We want Ronda, no, we don't.
No, we don't. And I'm the person saying, no, we don't, because there's just so many like people who can do better than her and who deserves to be more shown, and then she'll just come in and take the spotlight and then go back home and bitch about pro wrestling and how I think she did say it was fake. Didn't she say that?
I think that was in character, but at the same time, it's like there's got to be a sense of realism there, just because.
Was it in character though? Wasn't it like at home?
Yeah, she was at home. She was getting her hair done. I think it was like to build towards the Mania match and stuff. But my issue that I have with it is like there is some stuff with her that is just like, you know, I'm Ronda Rousey and, you know, creatively and stuff. But I think she's not someone who doesn't like to be told like, hey, we want to do this, because she's like a very much go your own way kind of chick. But I mean, I look at a woman like Shayna, and I'll say this personally, and my mom and I have actually had to talk about her because she likes her. Shayna Baszler is 1,000 times better than Ronda Rousey. Let's be honest with ourselves here. Out of the 4 horsewomen, Shayna is the best. Marina Shafir is meh. Jessamine Duke absolutely sucked, and Ronda sucks. So, I mean, out of the 4 of them, Shayna the Baszler is the one that's the best, in my opinion.
Yeah, which Shayna was hot in NXT. She was great in NXT. But then she got to the main roster and got lost.
And you could also thank Vinnie Mac for that, because Vinnie Mac didn't understand or didn't get what she was doing. I'm like, how do you not get what she was doing? She's the queen of spades. She's a badass. Book her like a fucking badass.
He doesn't get any woman that doesn't look like a supermodel. You know what I'm saying? If you're not like a supermodel with blonde hair and pretty, he don't get you. That's how he was for a long, you know what I mean, for a long time. So like, no wonder he didn't get her, because I'm not trying to mean like she's a little rough looking for a woman, and that's okay, because she don't need to be pretty, because she can kick your ass. You know what I mean? Plus sometimes I think they do their makeup wrong too. Like for example, like they do her makeup wrong, and they used to do Oh my God, Sonya Deville's makeup wrong for the longest time. Longest time.
I remember that makeup. Yep.
Yeah, like wrong. It's like, why are you making this bitch so ugly for? Like, why are you doing that to her? Please, you know? But you know what I mean? So like, yeah, like she's like, but she's a fighter. Like she's like, you know what I mean? She's good though. And I think like she is better in the ring and she's better at like making the transition too. You know what I mean? Like I think that Ronda was like a little bit like rougher to make the transition or something, was like not, but she got the skyrocket because she is famous. You know, that's why she got the skyrocket.
So let's add this too as well. So what Roxy Main is saying here, folks, like if you do your makeup wrong, why are you making these chicks look busted? That's what you're saying. Why
Why?
you make them look busted?
Why? They're on TV. Don't do that to them.
That's
Don't
what
do
I'm
that to
saying.
them.
We're gonna put that on a t-shirt now. Why are you making them look busted? You know?
Seriously though, yeah, like for the longest, because I remember I saw Sonya Deville without makeup or like light
Yeah,
makeup, and I was like,
very
oh my
pretty.
God, she is so pretty.
Very
Like,
pretty. Yeah.
yeah,
Like, that's the thing, and people don't even realize. Like, first of all, I'm going to say this about Sonya Deville. Like you said, she's a very pretty woman. Like,
very
if
pretty.
you take up all this what they put on, she's a very pretty woman. Like, I believe she's getting engaged now to some girl outside the business, but that's awesome. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very pretty. But they fucked up her makeup for a long time, and it was bad because they fucked it up the time that her and Mandy was doing really good together.
Fire and desire, man.
Yeah, and they kept on fucking up her makeup.
First of all, I love the female talk because here's what I'm going to say, folks. When it comes to this, not a lot of makeup is talked about on these shows, but if you want your makeup over here and you want to know how to look good, you're talking to Roxy Main over here. That's what you're saying, man. You want to make them look good? So
Yes, you do. Yes, it's all about appearance. Come on, it's wrestling. It's pro wrestling. It's a mix.
It is a mix. And these final topics, we actually mentioned them earlier, but we're going to go into detail a little bit more. Like I said, I appreciate your opinions always, and I can't wait to do more of these. We're going to put that out there because we're going to be more of these, and I always look forward to doing these.
You guys want to see my face more.
This grill right here, man.
Right?
So you talked about exclusivity before. Now I'm going to say this. I think that's why a lot of people also like signing with AEW and a lot of companies like that, because Tony is a big proponent of you can work New Japan, you can work the Indies, and WWE. Now, mind you, they had working relationships with Evolve, but Gabe Sapolsky also works with WWE. They had relationships with ICW and also Progress, but that's NXT UK, and that's where a lot of those talents came from, in WXW, so to speak. So I think a lot of people, when it comes to exclusivity, a lot of people like doing AEW and stuff because they can still do the Indies.
Yeah. And like it's wonderful for the fans, like I said before. Like that's why I'm like more excited now as a fan, because I didn't realize how much like different it was, you know what I mean? Like how in WWE it seems like you really can't touch them, like you can't like meet them hardly. Like you can, but it takes so much fucking money, and there's only certain times a year, like WrestleMania Access. I don't know what other time of year you can meet them. I mean, they do that cricket stuff, but like, yeah, not very much. You know what I'm saying? So like, there's not really much of like you can meet them, and like that makes a big difference in fans. I mean, like when you have TV, I guess you don't need to meet them, but whenever you're a fan, it's a difference for sure. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's more like intimate, it seems like. And then like the exclusivity, like you said, like whenever you're just WWE superstar, you just have that WWE like umbrella. That's it.
Yeah, that's your brand. That's the WWE brand. That's all you.
And there's nothing else outside of it. Like, no, you know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of people out there that is like really cool that you would like to see like them, you know, have a match with and stuff, and you won't, you know what I mean? So
I think it goes back to the territory days with Vince's father. And like Vince's father was very easy with like having, okay, Dusty Rhodes will bring you over here. And, just Dusty Rhodes can do NWA and stuff like that. But okay, Dusty, you can work here. And we're going to have you in Madison Square Garden against Superstar Billy Graham. The territory days, where everybody working with one another and giving them their shot. But also then Vince Jr. comes in, pal, and just takes over from his father and became the WWF. And like, it's a WWF or bust, so to speak. So I think that's why a lot of legends weren't happy, because, he took over from what we had back in the territory days.
Yeah, and he really made it more of a
Monopoly.
Yes. And it was like that for a long, long time. You know what I mean? And that's why it's the internet though, but that's why people shouldn't drag down AEW. Okay. Like, I get it. It's still a baby company. I get it. You know, they have their like problems and stuff, and they keep accumulating more. But this is something that we've been waiting for over, not over, but we like waited basically almost 18 years for it, because WCW closed down in 2001, and then they didn't come out and like be AEW till like 2019. So like we waited 18 years for that shit, and then people are now like saying a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? Like we waited a long time for something that can actually compete and actually stay up in many years against WE, and you can actually see that as an actual opponent against them. If that makes sense. Like you can actually you actually think that they're an actual competition.
Well, I've always said this: AEW was the alternative in the beginning. Is it the alternative now?
No.
And I'll be honest, because with how Tony does it, and again, this is not bagging on Tony. Hey, Tony. Not Tony the Tiger. He's the one and only con man. So Tony Khan signs his people. And with, like you mentioned, with the legends, it's like how WCW used to sign a lot of people. Like you would go from WWE to WCW.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing because, again, it's more competition for wrestling. It's another wrestling company out there. And that brings me to a lot of the stuff that we see in the influx of wrestling, like your boy Logan Paul, who was on SmackDown tonight. I know, the current reigning and defending U.S. champion. They're doing an 8-man tournament, and we saw a little thing with Kevin Owens. I got to say, I hope Kevin Owens wins. Kevin Owens and Logan Paul have that history. He stunned him at WrestleMania. I think Logan Paul's another one. I mean, how he represents himself. He wears the title everywhere he goes. We saw him wear it at the fights. We've seen it wear it in interviews. That dude has been killing it. And
I'm glad that he is. I know people don't like him, and there's a lot of reasons for it. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons. And but A, he is so good at it, and B, he really does have a lot of pride in it. And that's something that, if you go back to Ronda, she didn't have pride in it, and he has a lot of pride. And I think he has like a lot more like influence because obviously his influence. People like, even people like, if you you probably don't watch Impulsive, but if you go on there and you like read the things, people fucking hate him and they still watch his show. You know what I mean?
I've seen it. I've seen his show. I've seen him have on a lot of the YouTubers and Roman Reigns. And I mean, next week, as we're recording this show, Randy Orton is going to be on Impulsive. So you're going to see Randy Orton there.
I can't wait. He needs to do more shows about, like, this sounds like, I know he probably won't, but I just wish, like, I wait when he does an event. I like literally check every day for when he puts up a podcast so I can hear his talk about like wrestling and how he feels about the industry. Like, yeah.
Like he saved Rey Mysterio's life in Saudi Arabia with that catch. I mean,
yeah, that was great. I mean, he was like honest about it. He was like, I was obviously like I was in the wrong spot, but, and it's like, yeah, you were, you know what I mean? You were, but you still caught him.
Well, that's the thing. But it's like, yeah, both of us were off, but it's like I saw Ray, like his head was going to hit that mat if I didn't catch him. So that's a pro, man, and you could tell, like we mentioned, he's passionate. He wants to continue to learn, and I think it's a good asset to have for WWE with him there, and also more promotional stuff with him being the U.S. champion. And I mean, another thing, we mentioned Randy Orton. It looks like we're going towards the direction with Randy Orton being on SmackDown now. Him and Roman Reigns, man, give me it at the Rumble. Give me it at the Rumble.
Yeah, that would be honestly really cool and like awesome to see, because like Randy finally coming back, and you know what I'm saying, and it's been like waiting and we've been like anticipating for it, so like I can't wait to see like what they do. And it's different because Randy's usually on SmackDown, not SmackDown, he's usually on Raw.
Yeah,
he is. So like him on SmackDown is something new, you know. And honestly, I love Riddle, but the fact that Riddle's not there now, Randy has like a new like playing field, because like, you know what I mean, like, because like people expected him to come back and, you know what I mean, do what he was doing, but now he's not, like, because you don't have his boy there, you know. So like it's excited to see what they do, and like, you know what I mean, so I'm excited to see that.
Man, I think that's the operative word here. It's an exciting time for wrestling, and we get to talk about a lot of this stuff with you guys, like give our thoughts and our assessment, if you will, on professional wrestling. I mean, it's a hell of a time to be a fan, you know. Enjoy what you like. Stop the bickering on Twitter, you sons of bitches, and just enjoy it all around, and just have fun like Roxy and I do. And the fact that, you know, MJF, I am your rat. Goddamn it.
I am your rat. I don't understand why he doesn't come to PA. Goddamn.
We're never going to live that down, but it's funny. And this is why I love I'm going to put it out there. You got the Roxyism, if you will. It's your isms, man.
Isms.
Isms. That's what it is.
Yes, thank you.
One final topic, ma'am. You brought this up earlier in the show, and I think this is the best way to close it because I love your strong, opinionated things on this. You're very blunt. You're very honest. So we're
Yes.
going to open up that as well. God damn it, man, with the wrestlers being so soft. I mean, all right, I'll put this out here. We see on social media stuff like, oh, if they said this now, they would be canceled. We see that word being out there so much, right? So, and one of the prime examples they said was when Carlito was with Maria and they did the interview, and Carlito goes, "Hey, Maria, do you spit or do you swallow?" Like, and then he goes, "Well, Maria, and she goes, "Well, I swallow." And everybody's like, "Yay." So that was in 2006. It's like when John Cena was rapping, well, John Cena's like a pinwheel. You can go ahead and blow me. Look at that whole entire Thugonomics thing. Wrestling fans nowadays, and here's what I'm saying, even with the society, not everything is to get offended by. If you're telling a story, and even back in the day, if it pisses you off, now mind you, I thought the MJF stuff when they were doing like with the roll of quarters was a little much because of what's going on in the world. That's a little bit over the line. But when you're doing stuff like when it's just story driven, you could tell they're being a heel and it adds to the story, it adds to the heightening of it. People got to stop, man. Like there's stuff to be offended for and there's stuff not to be offended for. The roll of quarters, yes, but all the other stuff, nah. Like, let them tell the story. There has to be a protagonist and antagonist and everything.
The only thing that I have ever felt something about in wrestling that has offended me was, I think it happened twice in wrestling where someone looked like they were getting crucified. That's the only time I've ever been offended. That's the only time. Like, that's the only time I've ever been offended is that. And that's it. Like, there's nothing else that has ever offended me. Like, personally, and I'm a woman and I say this, like, when John Cena was Thugonomics and I was a little girl, I fucking loved him. And now when I hear it, it's even funnier. You know what I'm saying? I liked him as a kid. I like him even better now as an adult. Like Max Caster, like I wish he could push the envelope more. I wish he could say more. I wish that he could offend people more. Like not offend, but like say things that people don't like. Like people like the you know what I'm saying? Like for example, like in the Carlito thing, like the swallow thing, and you know what I mean? But okay, so back then a lot of stuff was raunchy in general, you know what I mean? So like I feel like that stuff like obviously like isn't as like popular or like, but like I don't think it's like too much. I think it's like, I mean, wrestling has like changed to like more mature like old people, I think, more than mature like adults. Does that make sense? Like that was adults like having sex jokes and showing like now it's like talking about like everything but sexual. That makes sense. Like everything was like sexual back in the day. And I think that's why people don't like it now because it was just so fucking like down your throat all the time before. And then, you know what I'm saying? So like, but I don't see any problems with it. I think it's like kind of funny. And then on top of it, like, you know, like if they say things and people don't even know the reference right away, you know what I mean? So, and then some people do, you know?
Well, yeah, it's the subtleties. And I think with people like first of all, as a kid, I didn't get offended over a lot of that stuff. And the only thing I think I've ever gotten offended, like you mentioned, I'm Catholic. So when they put Sandman on the cross in ECW, that was a no-no for me. I mean, you could also say like, when the Undertaker had people on the symbol, I'm like,
I didn't like that.
No, I could deal without that. That's okay. I mean, Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio with, your daddy's not up here. He's down there in hell. I'm like, he's been dead for a couple months and I know they okayed this, but that kind of got me a little. And I mean, with Michael Cole talk about Jerry Lawler's mom, who had just passed going into the WrestleMania match that they had. I mean, I get it. I mean, there's stuff that really treads the line, but there's a lot of stuff in wrestling. Like, I mean, I've seen worse. Like, okay, we'll bring Nikki Bella and Brie Bella. Nikki Bella told Brie Bella, I wish you would have died in the womb.
Yeah, that was a lot.
That was a lot, but it heightened the fact that she was jealous of her sister. That was the point. That was the point. So I was like, okay, but I'm like, that's a little much, but it's a little excessive, but okay, I understand where you're going here.
But you have to also think about like pro wrestling is like it's like it's a movie, it's a story. So like it's not real. You know what I'm saying? That's like the biggest thing, like it's not real. So like that's the only thing that like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's why I don't take anything too seriously, like at all. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing really makes me cringe too much. I probably cringe worse when people fuck up like Rick in that thing than I do in those moments. I'll be real. Like,
no.
Like when I mean the cringe with Rick, I mean like the Sting promo where he just keeps on going blah 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 and off. You know what I'm saying? But like, I'd rather have more things that they're like saying things that adds on to the program, and stuff. So that's what I'd rather have, honestly. Like, and I miss that stuff. Like that's why I like Max so much, because he is like people are like, you're not John Cena. No, he's not. But I love that he brought back what John Cena did, because I thought it was so great. Like I loved it.
I mean, you also have the influx of social media to use your rap about it, and that's what he did with a lot of his stuff. I mean, the Simone Biles comment got him in a little bit of hot water, but like that was the only one. I mean, he said stuff about, make you retire like Vince McMahon and stuff like that, which was hilarious because it was current at the time. But he's also a rapper, so you incorporate the fact that he raps and he can do these diss tracks, and it makes sense with the character and what the Acclaimed is trying to tell story-wise. And they're over. I mean, Scissor Me Daddy Ass, adding Billy Gunn to it, who's a legend in tag team wrestling with DX and what have you. So, I mean, it works. The whole entire package works.
It does work. And I think that they, like, could do even more to push, like I said, they could do more to push the envelope with that stuff. I don't think that stuff's, like, offensive at all. Like, I don't know why people get so...
Butthurt.
I will never understand it, to be honest with you. I won't.
Well, stop. All right, let's put it out there. I mean, we'll say this thing. I'll say this, and you can add on to this, because, I mean, you're already doing marketing strategies here. You're just going all blunt and honest with you and saying your words. So we'll add on this together. Stop pussifying wrestling, people. Stop with the pussification.
Yeah. Like, they just make it, like, hard to, like, even enjoy anything. They have to say something about something. You know what I mean? So I'm not really... Like, I don't understand the whole cancel thing in general. Like, who are you really hurting or offending? And another thing too, it's like, are they really wrestling fans that they're being offended by all of this? Really?
That would be like, so, all right. So I started watching during the Ruthless Aggression era, right? So 2002. So a mere 21 years ago, right?
Yep. It's about time
I like your style. Here we go. All right, you're going to take this trip with me now, Mississippi, where I started watching. Okay. So Tori Wilson and Dawn Marie had a thing where she was seducing Al Wilson in the shower, and they had that thing where, I'm going to air the footage of you and I in the hotel room at Armageddon, and Al didn't want to do it, and then her and Dawn get married, and Al Wilson has a heart attack and supposedly dies. Yes. But if they did that now, everybody's like, oh my God, this is cringe. What are you doing? Like, it was a story. You know what I'm saying? This is a girl who is, who's her enemy, who is trying to wreck her life by dating her father.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And Tori Wilson's the ultimate good girl, and Dawn Marie's the villainous character. They had HLA, which was hot lesbian action, and you had, these hot women, the eye candy, and then Rosie and Umaga, Jamal would come out and beat them up because Eric Bischoff was bored, and did I hear myself say 3 minutes? You had Billy and Chuck getting married, and you know what I'm saying? And this is also tells you how people were soft. The people from GLAAD hated that segment, and people were going after them for doing that. And it was the talk, like, and they were on talk shows like, oh my God, are you guys really getting married? And like, they believed it. You believed in the storyline. And then it turns out, we're not gay people. What are you doing? We got nothing against them, but it's like Rico, we're not gay. And then they got beat up by 3-minute warning. So it was something that was talked about. And if you have something that's talked about and makes mainstream, you're golden, man. So I'm like, and nowadays, people wouldn't care with how everybody is with, just sexual orientation being more open with equality. It wouldn't matter. But 2002, that would have been like taboo.
Yeah. Which, like, yeah, like, damn, I remember I used to love Billy and Chuck so much.
And that theme song was awesome. You look so good to me.
Yeah, I love Billy Gunn. I was just telling my mom, so I'm actually meeting Billy Gunn tomorrow, so I'm excited as fuck.
Yeah.
So hyped. So I'm like, I always love Billy Gunn. His smile is amazing. But like the whole, like, that's like, here's the thing though, wrestling was so good back then. Like, it was so good. Like, I don't know what the fuck is missing. We always talk about that though. Like, it was really good. Like, even the Edge, the shampoo Edge and Booker T, even that was good.
That was comedy where Booker's just like, hey, yo, sucker, get the shampoo. Like, it's funny.
Everyone likes to like shit on comedy things, but look at the past, how good comedy, Edge and Christian, comedy. Kurt Angle did comedy. And think
Everybody did
huge.
comedy.
Yeah, huge. Why, why the comedy's not as funny anymore? Because the comedy's changed.
Mhm.
And I think it's more childish, the comedy is.
I'll
That's
agree.
all.
Like it's just like if you say something that's very, either going down the sexual route or whatever, like that's funny. I'm like, but is it really funny? Is it really the zinger that you think it is? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like if we had a tit for tat battle and we're doing the dozen, so to speak, right? Which leads to the yo mama jokes. And if I'm hitting you with the verbal blows and the verbal spars, so to speak, then all of a sudden you come out and go, well, yeah, well, I fucked your mama. And I'm like, that's nothing to do with this. You're just desperate. You just came out with a mama insult because you ain't got nothing creatively to hit me with.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Which I mean, like, I don't know what they can do to really change it. Like, because I was watching, like, I'll be real with you, I watched that segment with Jelly Roll and them in the back.
Yes. Yes, I know.
And I Jelly Roll, I have nothing against him. I really do. Like, I'm not a big, like, I haven't heard him too much. Like, I know some of his songs, and I know, like, his wife's really pretty, and I know that he has had a hard life and he has a great story, and I think he's a wonderful example of what you can be. I think he's a wonderful man. But fuck, he was not, like, I don't know if they didn't tell him what the hell was going to go on or what. His facial expression sucked, and he like it just seems like he didn't know, like, what to do when he was back there. I don't know, like, it just
Yeah,
didn't, like, it wasn't good. It wasn't good, and it sucks because R-Truth makes everything fucking good, but that was not that great. It seemed like he just didn't get R-Truth or something. I don't know. Like, he seemed like, I don't know. It's just weird. It wasn't a good segment.
Hey, Jelly Roll, we're gonna have you in the back with these guys. Do your best to react. So I mean, R-Truth's doing his thing, and then Tozawa, do your dance. That's nasty, Tozawa, when he's doing the thing. Like, it's funny because R-Truth, first of all, it's great to see him back, but he is someone, like, you want to talk about comedy. R-Truth, he can't do wrong. He cannot do anything wrong. Like,
He's funny.
You have to have that ability with wrestling. I know people have shit on the comedy, but if comedy is done right, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm. In comedy, honestly, I think that they should just turn someone needs to study how, I'm saying, how people did it back then, because, like, there's something wrong. You know what I mean? There's something wrong. Like, or like maybe there was more better comedies, because, like, I don't know how to explain it, because, like, you have like even Austin did comedy stuff.
Like the Jimmy Crack Corn and I Don't Care with Kurt Angle is still.
Oh yeah, and then that one thing where like Vince, it was like Vince was telling him, like, Vince was talking to Undertaker, Kurt, and Austin, and like Austin was like kept on like just repeating what Vince was saying and shit, like little stuff like that. Hilarious.
When he tried to make the Undertaker break, Undertaker, Survivor Series, and he just kept repeating.
Yes, like that's shit like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like little things, like, you know what I mean? I don't know what the difference is, but, like, someone needs to like study it and understand what the difference is and fucking find it. You know what I mean?
I think with anything in wrestling, whatever it may be, comedy, serious, what have you, do it to the best of your abilities, but also find it, and don't be afraid to go against the grain, and don't be afraid to go against the grain in life, man, because I mean, if you do that, it leads to a lot of great things. And I think what we have in wrestling now, and especially back in the day, wrestling has evolved, but there's like so much great things to it. So just find what you like, enjoy it, and just absorb it, man. Adapt, grow, and take it all in. That's the best way to sum it up, man. Take it all in.
Yeah. Well, I go back to the comedy thing.
Yeah.
John Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose, I thought he was hilarious with the hot dog thing. I always loved that fucking. People say they don't like it. I always loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
It was funny. It was good.
It was funny. I like funny. I love comedy personally. I really do. You know what I mean? But like, I get like certain things. Like, I'll be real with you. A lot of their like segments that are comedy aren't good. I don't know if it's because the people that they got in them just aren't funny. They ain't got charisma, or what it is exactly. Like, you can go.
Okay, yeah, sorry. My apologies. I don't mean to cut you off there, but I was going to say, to add on to your Ambrose thing, like when he did the ice bucket challenge and poured the ice bucket on Seth Rollins, and he goes, "What? It's for charity." And then he throws the bucket in his face and starts beating him up. That's funny.
That's hilarious, dude. Yeah.
Like the slime he put in the Money in the Bank, and then all of a sudden, right in Seth's face. That's funny.
It was funny. I see no problem in that stuff. Like that's like good comedy. The what do you call that? Even like I this sounds bad. I sound like fucking Twitter right now. But even the segments with the ruffles where R-Truth like came back, even that segment was like everything just seems like it's like awkward.
Well, yeah, because they're fighting over. Well, first of all, I get the silliness of it, but it's like Ruffles is like, it's a chip, it's a crisp, because Pretty Deadly's from the UK. It's a chip, it's a crisp, and it's like, okay, all right, I get it for product placement, but I'm just like
back and forth. But like, I don't think Pretty Deadly's like funny though. Like, I don't think they're like, I didn't even like them in general. So like, I don't know.
They're flamboyant, and I mean, I get it, but it's just like, okay,
that's it though.
We're so pretty, we're so deadly, Pretty Deadly.
I'm not trying to be mean, but there's a lot of prettier men out there.
Yeah, you look like with your friggin' shirts and everything. You ain't nothing.
Ain't nothing. Their faces aren't that cute. There's a lot better men. They're looking men.
And then you know who's dating them, right?
No.
Oh my God! So I think Elton Prince is with one of the girls. That's the blonde, right? So Elton Prince is the blonde. He's with one of the backstage interviewers from NXT. Not Mackenzie Mitchell, who's with Vic Joseph. He's with one of the other ones. And Kit Wilson, I think, is either engaged or married to Stevie Turner, who was on NXT UK. That's the girl doing the Twitch gimmick, who's on NXT. So yeah.
Oh wow! I mean, shit. I mean, they can get. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, they can get somebody for sure. I'm just saying, like, when it comes to, I mean, like they were killing it at NXT though, but I didn't really see. Usually, you can see stuff in NXT, but then they don't put it out in the main roster. But them I didn't see in NXT really even, you know what I mean? But like, I mean, like when I mean like that crisp thing, it ain't about what they said. Like it's not about what they fought about. It was like the whole like thing as a whole. It just like was like
it's kind of awkward.
It is.
It was kind of awkward.
Yeah, it was odd. And a lot of their segments in the backstage is odd now these days. And I don't know why. Whenever there should be more backstage segments like there used to be in general overall with different things going on.
Well, it's like that Shotzi promo last week where she starts screaming, "I'm ready for War Games." And it's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. It's just, it comes off so awkward, and like she just came off so, yeah, okay.
Like yeah. I mean, yeah, they're trying to find themselves, right? I think that's what that was. She was trying to like find herself. Because like, you know what I mean? She's like that creepy, like goth girl, ain't she? She's like a rebellious goth girl.
I mean, I get the character about like she gets her head shaven and then she's like, it opened me up and now I'm nuts and I'm ready to take on anybody. But I mean, don't do that on the mic again. That's all I'm going to say. Don't do that again.
Practice your laugh. Practice. That's all.
And what you should do, folks, is not just practice, but you should also listen and learn and listen to what we're saying here. This is what we do on Shootin' the Breeze. And I think before we close this out, Roxy Main, we got to do another one of these, man.
Yes.
We hit everything on the point, and I appreciate your discussions, and I appreciate your bluntness, and it really adds a lot to this, and I always love including you.
Thank you. I'm glad that you do include me because I don't have no one else to talk to about this shit.
Well,
and then when I do, they don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, that's why you got me, man. Friends, sticking together to the end. Wrestling.
Yes.
That's how we bond. This is how we open up relationships with wrestling fans, folks. It's a beautiful thing. You are on Twitter, ma'am. Where can we follow you on the Twitter machine?
At Roxy Main.
Link will be in the description. You should check her out. Showcases her beautiful imagery with her shoots. We got to put this over here, folks, because this woman knows how to take a photo. Like I said, work with the finer arts. We got to put this over here, man. You know how to rock it. We'll put that. You're welcome. Got to put that over, man. I know a lot of beautiful ladies, and you are one of them. So much love. And also, you want to check out some wrestling talk with Roxy on Twitter, man, because she's got her photos. She's got everything wrestling related on there, and she's just a cool ass wrestling chick to follow. So go follow Roxy Man on the Twitter. You're welcome. And if you want to follow me, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Mike Larkin 92, SM Show 1 or MCL 92 on the Twitter, M Larkin MB or Larkin _92 on the Instagram front. And just link will be in the description. We got a lot of links for everybody to check out. You can check out the YouTube channel with this one over here on Shootin' the Breeze. You can check out my interviews with this one on the mic with Mike. You can check out everything wrestling related, pop culture, what have you. I'm chock full of them, if you will. Let's put that out there. We're chock full of them, and we have a lot of variety on the YouTube channel. So Final things here. Enjoy professional wrestling. We'll be back with more professional wrestling talk. We do have some shows in December. If we want to do some prediction shows, Roxy, we'll see how it gets because it is a holiday time. I hope all of you enjoy your holidays. You know what I'm saying? Coming up. Thank you. Christmas is coming up. Buy yourself something for the loved ones, family. It's what it's about, folks. It's the season of giving. Hello. Give yourselves a gift. Treat yourselves and just be with the loved ones. You know what I'm saying? That's all I could say. Family and foundation.
Yes, I agree with that.
And as I always say to end this show, beauty, strength, and dominance, the three key elements that make women the work of art that they are. Roxy Main, my main one, my dear friend, I appreciate you and I include you in those sentiments. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Come talk to me. I love the way you're on to me. Looking at you, looking like you're wondering if we're here for the same reason. And now that you wanna lay in the sun, getting love drunk, sticking like honey. Yeah, I bet you're here for some fun with that someone, feeling that something. If you're looking for a good time, honey, I'm right here. If you're looking for the good life, good vibes, honey, I'm right here. And I'm waiting for you. And I love you in your summer skin. Looking at you, looking like you're into it. We're here for the same reason. Yeah, I just wanna lay in the sun, getting love drunk, sticking like honey. Yeah, 'cause I'm just here for some fun with that someone, feeling that something. If you're looking for a good time, honey, I'm right here.